What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to Chew and Chat this week. Now, if you already read my title, you already know we're talking about toxic relationships. Now, I know it's not an easy topic, but I want to give you 7 things that can help you identify if you're in a toxic relationship or a situationship. And if you guys have been following me, there's this short that I posted and it literally blew up overnight. Okay, but I definitely want to explain why I said that. So while you guys go get a snack, go get some food, go get something to chew on, okay, I'm gonna roll the intro and we gonna go ho this video. Let's go. Hello.
So good and tasty.
Oh shit, here we go again.
What's up, everybody? Whatever snack you grabbed or whatever you're having for dinner, whatever you're eating, go ahead and tag me at ChewNChatfoodie on Twitter, okay? I like to see what people's eating. I like to see what they grabbed. I like to see, like, what's your flavor like? Like, do you like stuff that's salty? Do you like something that's sweet? Like, what do you consider a snack? Or even something just to chew on? I'm that weird person. I like to see other people's plate because maybe I want to try it, especially if it looks good. Like, I love sharing food. It's almost like sharing culture. So please do not hesitate to do that. Okay. So let's start off with the creative aspect of this video. Now, you guys know I like to give creative things, give you something to do, or maybe give you an idea of something you've never tried. Now, if you tried everything I'm mentioning and you have something different, go ahead and tag me at Embrace Reality on Instagram and say, hey, Aaliyah, you should try this event. And I will gladly go and I will gladly talk about it. I'm that person. I'm open to anything. So if you guys are open-minded, if my foodies are open-minded just as much as I am, and you wanted to try something different with you and the girls, you know, or, you know, you and your friends, and you're like, I want to do something different that I've never done before. I went this weekend and I went to a drag brunch. Now, I know a lot of people, it's like, a drag brunch, like, what is that? A lot of people know about it and a lot of people don't. And you'd be surprised how many people actually don't know about it. That's the crazy part. So a drag brunch is pretty much brunch. It's like breakfast, dinner type of food. Then it has bottomless mimosas, and then it's followed by entertainment. So this weekend, I decided to go to Sad Brunch. Sad Brunch is a brunch that is starting to go viral. It is started to blow up, and it is starting to go big. So make sure you guys go follow them at Sad Brunch on Instagram. And I would definitely put their social media below so you can go ahead and check them out. Now, the reason why I went this weekend is I actually won a free ticket. Can you believe that? They were somebody I was following on Instagram, and they said, all right, whoever tags us in your post, like, just put in your story, we'll go ahead and send you a free ticket, you know. So knowing me, like, you know how many people do that? Like, I was like, okay, I go ahead and I tag it, and I end up winning a free ticket. That was so great. And the thing about this show, what made it special is, for those of you who watch RuPaul's Drag Race, Akeria was there. I love Akeria. I'm gonna go ahead and put her picture up here. She is so beautiful in person and on TV, okay? On TV, I know they got the lightings, they got the cameras, they got the special effects, but Akeria is a really beautiful drag queen. Not only that, she is so pretty. She is so gorgeous. Like, I love her. And the thing about it is, I loved her on the show, but actually seeing her in person, I loved her even more. Her energy was great. They had all the drag queens perform twice. So not just once, but twice. So while you're eating the first time, they're performing, and then after they have like an intermission, they change makeup, they change outfits, they came out and performed again. The other drag queens were there. For example, we had Druex Sidora. Love her. She is the dance drag queen of this year. Like, I really feel like she's up and coming. I think sooner or later we're going to see her on TV. I'm literally waiting for it. Let me tell you something. Her dance routine hands down, it exceeds her. If you hear that she dances, girl be breaking it down. Like, her and Megan Thee Stallion need to be twerking together, because the way they be dropping down and some of the moves that she do, I'm like, you need to be going around teaching some of these artists how to do these type of dance moves, because it's real. I don't even want to say dramatic, but it's extravagant. Like, you just be like, girl, she make me want to go home and practice. That's the thing. So the thing is, at this drag brunch, this past weekend, I have to say that Sad Brunch was a little unorganized, but it actually wasn't their fault. I ended up finding out that it was the venue's kind of fault, because tables weren't set up, this wasn't set up, that wasn't set up. So it did put them behind, and it put our time back, but they still gave us a full show, which I so appreciate. And the fact that they knew everybody had to be 10 times more patient, they gave out even more mimosas than the average, because most of the time, mimosas, they'll fill it once, they'll fill it twice. You'll be lucky you get it filled a third time, and they try to like spread it out, but they was not stingy at all. So I like loved it. So what they do is you pay for your ticket, and then the bottomless mimosas and the food you have to pay separately. Now, I'm going to give you guys advice if you decide to go to Sad Brunch. The brunch was okay, and what I mean by okay is, now I want you to look at the food. I'm gonna put the food up on the screen, and you're gonna see it actually looks good. It actually looks appetizing. Now, if you're the first one in line, like as soon as they open the doors, as soon as they seat you, as soon as you get the ticket, if you're the first one there and it's piping hot, they just put it out, I feel like your food is going to be good. But unfortunately, I was like in the middle when it was time to get brunch due to some of the chaos that was tending to happen. And the food actually was not good. Like, I don't want to say it was not good. I would say it was just okay. Like, it was definitely eatable, but I feel like the quality could have been 10 times better. But I mean, they had me at looks, like 10 out of 10. It looked good, it looked full. They had salad, they had eggs, bacon, sausage, like they had fruit, they had all these type of toppings you could put on your food. Like, they had the whole shebang. I just think maybe they could find a better way to get the food out faster so it's hot, so by the time you get it, it will still be good to me or still good to somebody in the back versus people at the beginning. Because you would notice, like, the people who's like tearing up their food, like they going in, they mouth wide open, food is just like chewing and stuff, those are the ones who was at the front and they got the food when it was hot. But the rest of us who was like in the middle to the back, and you know, these type of drag brunches, there be a lot of people. Like, it don't just be like 20, 30. Literally, this event had way over 100 people. Okay, so you think about all those people. By the time you get to the back, it was cold, it was okay, it really wasn't worth buying. I think eat before you go and then eat after. But overall, Sad Brunch is amazing. It's one of the best drag brunches brand I have been to. I have been to some other ones that wasn't as extravagant as this or wasn't as put together as this was. The DJ Rosie, I love her. Like, she's amazing. She does DJ like in DC. Amazing. If you ever need a DJ, shout out to her, and I'm gonna definitely put her social media below in the description as well. She's definitely amazing. The music was on point. Beyonce, you know, Renaissance album, like she was definitely doing it. But let's go ahead and get into the main topic. Now that we got the creative aspect out the way, I want to talk about toxic relationships. I think I need to say that again. I want to talk about toxic relationships. I want to give you 7 steps on how do you know you're in a toxic relationship. The thing is, a lot of people don't know that they're in a toxic relationship. A lot of people are in denial that they're in a toxic relationship, and girl, you are. Boy, you are. Let me tell you something. Girls and guys can be toxic. There is no gender when it comes to toxicity, okay? There is no gender. Girls can be toxic and so can guys. And that is what a lot of people don't understand. The thing is, when they say toxic relationship, people automatically assume like guys. Oh, it must be a girl and a guy. But I mean, there are lesbian couples, there are gay couples, like Anybody can be toxic. It's not about the gender. It's not about what they look like. It's about certain qualities that they might have, or certain traits or certain habits that they might have. So let's get into it. Number one, not taking accountability. Not taking accountability. Now, I know a lot of you is like, things come up, things happen. How is it that they don't take accountability? Let's say you guys want to go somewhere, you guys want to go on a date, and last minute the car breaks down, or let's say your significant other can't get a ride. They will blame everybody around them. They will blame everybody and their mother on why this couldn't happen, this couldn't get done. Let's say your significant other had to pay the bills. They had to pay the bills. And now all week they've been telling you, babe, I'm going to pay the bills Friday. I'm going to pay the bills Friday. Friday comes and the bill's not paid and your lights are off. And now you're like, what? Babe, why didn't you pay the bills? What happened? You're talking to your significant other and you're like, why haven't you paid the bills? What's going on? And they're like, oh, when I called the phone company, the wait time was too long, or I tried to pay it, but they wouldn't take my money. They do not take accountability. They will blame everybody else. Let me tell you something. A strong, confident person in themselves, someone who is secure in themselves, it is very hard for people to say, I'm wrong. Yep, it sure is. It is hard for people to say, man, I didn't do that. That my bad. That was my fault. It is very hard for a lot of people to do that. And that is definitely a toxic trait that a lot of people have. And a lot of the times, depending on where you grow up, they don't teach you that when you do something wrong, you say, I did something wrong and I need to fix it. They normally just be like, oh, well, if you could go around it and say somebody else did it, do it that way. That is kind of how a lot of people are like taught. Like if you could get around it or you could come up with a good excuse, use that instead of saying you did it so you don't look bad. But no, they don't take accountability. So, okay. Number 2. Gaslighting. Oh my God. I have been through so many things where before the word gaslighting really came out, like there wasn't a word for when people would flip things on you. We used to say flip the script. I had to think about that. We used to say flip the script. We wouldn't say gaslighting, okay? But now everybody says gaslighting. Everybody has found that word that describes that toxic trait that a lot of people back in the day did not really talk about. So, let me give you guys the definition. Gaslighting is manipulating someone that makes them question their own sanity. Or in other terms, they flip the script. They flip it on you. Every time something happens, they flip it on you. The problem could have nothing to do with it, and they will flip it on you. That's what gaslighting is. And if you still don't understand, I am going to give you guys a perfect story. This actually just happened to me. So, I met this guy, okay? Nice looking guy. He was nice, okay? And has never taken me out on a date. And he was somebody I was like messing with for a little bit, less than a year. But when you meet somebody, you have that first impression. When you start dating them, you want to see what they're like. You know, you get all these butterflies. So, of course, when I first met him, when I first started hanging around him, I started getting butterflies. I couldn't see his flaws. Like, I always say you don't see they flaws until like 5-6 months out, because you're in that honeymoon phase. You're in that cupcake phase. All you notice is they look good. I'm all over them. They're on me. Whatever. So this guy, I used to drive to him all the time. Now, I know you guys are like, I wouldn't be driving to, you know, no guy place or whatever, but I'm very open-minded about everybody. Life situation is different, and you know, some guys are not bad guys even though they may not have the best of habits. Okay, I have some friends that, you know, their girls drive to them and they're actually really good guys. Like, they take care of them, they treat them right. So I have seen a little bit of both worlds. So I would drive to him, not every day, not every week, but every once in a while so I can see him. And what I noticed is we weren't going on dates. We weren't doing nothing. We weren't getting to know each other outside of his home. You know what I'm saying? Really nice guy, really chill. But as a female, or just as someone who's dating, you want to see more. Like, when you know somebody in the house, it's different knowing them in an activity or knowing them outside the house. Because some people, when they're home, they're really, really chill. Like, I'm that person. When I'm home, I'm really, really chill. But when I'm outside, bitch, I'm outside, okay? So there's a difference, okay? There's a difference. There's a personality difference. So as I'm in this situation, I called it a situationship. As I'm in this, you know, he's talking to me good and all this stuff. And I kind of stopped talking to him. Pretty much, let's just say we fell off. Like, because after a while, I will drive to you for a certain amount of time. But when you're not reciprocating the correct energy, people can say they reciprocate energy, but it has to be the correct energy back. And I noticed, dang, he hasn't like tried to take me on a date, and I have done things differently to show that I was interested, okay? So it wasn't, you know, one-sided or whatever. And I noticed, dang, like, you haven't even brought me a Subway sandwich, like, nothing. Like, what is going on? So later on, something came up for him. It was like an emergency. I'm not going to put nobody's business out there. A situation had came up that he had, and I backed up. So for my personal sanity, okay, gaslighting, here we go, definition. For my sanity, I unfollowed him on Instagram. I unfollowed him like on social media pretty much, and I just stopped talking to him, because when you are messing with somebody, like, you get emotionally attached. Like, I am that person. Like, I really like you. I want more than what this is, you know, like, you're playing with my feelings right now. Like, maybe you're not the guy for me. So she had to get a reality check. She takes a step back. Now, let me tell you, foodies, okay? After his situation had happened, he sends me a message saying, you know, good luck in life. That was number one. Then you could see the timestamp and tell that they thought about it and probably had more to say. And comes back with the message he really wanted to say and said, I thought out of all the people, you would be there for me. Now, here's the thing. I am that person that is very supportive. I am that person that will be by your side. This is the crazy part about it. But when he sent that message, my sanity was being messed with so hard. Like, I felt bad. I felt terrible. Like, dang, like, I should have been there. I should have been by your side. I probably, you know, should have drove and been with you. You know, I should have been right there when that situation was happening. So at first, I'm feeling bad. Like, my sanity, I'm like, dang, maybe I was being a jerk. Maybe I was being an a-hole. Like, oh my God. But you know what, foodies? Let me tell you something. you have to think about your entire situation. And for me in that situation, I literally took the time to think about the entire thing. Not just a piece of it, not just that moment, that entire thing. This guy has done nothing for me. Now, I am a businesswoman. I am independent. Yes, I am a mom, okay, but I am very independent and I don't chase after no money. Okay, I have my own money. Girl doing good. I travel, I do this. I'm always doing something. I don't need nobody's money. I'm good, okay? But I had to think about the entire situation, and I said, he ain't do nothing for me before this situation happened. Before this one situation happened, he hasn't done nothing for me. He hasn't taken me on a date. He hasn't brought me flowers. He hasn't courted me in no way to show me that he's interested in more than just being friends or being a situationship. He hasn't shown me no more than that. He hasn't shown me that at all. I couldn't, his words said, I want to be with you, but your action said, you're just a fling for the moment. You're just what I'm comfortable with right now. That's what his action said. And in that moment of him trying to gaslight me and like literally put it on me, I realized that it's like you have to be mentally strong and realize, no, I should not have been there because one, I'm not your girl. I'm not your girlfriend. You haven't established that we're dating. And that, let me tell you something, that is how toxic people pull you in and you can never leave. Now, the old me, okay, because everybody is guilty of this, and that's as you learn and grow. But back in the day when I used to be gullible, okay, the old me probably would have drove up there and been by your side. I would have been right there. And I would have been okay that we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. I would have been okay that we, you know, he wasn't taking me out on dates because I would have been like, this is cool. I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going with what he's cool with. But no, ladies, we deserve way more. And gentlemen too, because if you have girls who do that to you too, don't be there for somebody unless you guys are genuine friends, okay? And I'm not talking about, you have to separate the two, because I feel like if you sleep with somebody, they not your friend. Now, if y'all decide to become friends and y'all never sleep around again, that is a true friend. Y'all just became friends, it didn't work out, and that's it. But if they're not a friend, they're not, okay, let's hashtag say a family member. If they're not along those lines, you should, or if they're not along any of those lines, you should not be there for them at the beginning. And I tell you that because now, if at the very beginning, let's say they happen to meet you and they happen to be going through something at the same time and they told you about it, but they still explained that I want to be with you, allow them to go through that situation and then get back to you. Because the thing about it is you're going to be expecting so much from them and they won't have time because they're dealing with something. Now, another scenario, you meet somebody and they're good at first. Like how my situation was. He was good, ain't nothing, you know, was going on or nothing. And had he shown me, he could take me out on dates, he could buy me flowers, he could court me a little bit. I'm not saying they gotta take you a date out on every weekend or every day, but if they're doing little things to show you, like, I want to be with you, like, I want you to be mine, I want you to be my girl, I want you to do this, whatever, and then a situation happens, be there for them. But in my case, he wasn't doing that, he wasn't doing anything, okay? It made a lot of excuses too, okay? And I was just like, you got a little bit of toxicness to you, and reality ain't with that, okay? You just keep it pushing, and it is what it is, okay? So that is gaslighting, okay? If they flip it on you and try to make it seem like, well, yes, I made you mad, but now you're making me feel like this, and now you're feeling bad. Let me explain something to you. Don't, okay? It's not you, it's literally them. Number 3, okay? Let's keep this rolling. Number 3, we're gonna say no support. Now, when you're dating someone or you're in a situationship, I say that because apparently a situationship is like the new relationship. It's crazy. If you're going through something, let's say you're starting a business, let's say you're like me, you're starting a podcast, let's say you're just starting something new, you want to get back into dancing, you want to go help a charity out, you want to do something, and you see that your significant other or that other person that you care for is not supporting you, that is a toxic trait. Let me tell you something. A lot of people are in relationships where the other person is literally jealous of them. No, they will not tell you they're jealous, but their actions will prove it. Just like they say, some guys or some people, okay, I'm not just using guys as an example, some guys have a problem with women making more money than them. And the thing about it is, that's crazy, but that still happens today. Even in mad relationships, some people for some reason don't like to see you do better than them. Another example is, let's use social media for example. Both of you guys have your own Instagram account and your significant other sees that your followers are like growing, your reels are blowing up, like everything is going good for you, and they're like, why don't you tag me in your stuff? Why am I not on your Instagram page? How come you took that picture of us down? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have this? Let me tell you something. That could be a sign of jealousy that you're getting a lot of attention. And it's sad because your significant other is supposed to support you. They're supposed to care. They're supposed to care about what you're doing. They're supposed to be your number one fan. Like, if there was a fan club, they should be the ones creating the fan club because they love you that much. They care about you that much. Let's say you want to start a fashion line and you have a fashion show. They should be the ones helping you set up, hang up the lights, do this. They should be as supportive as possible, as much as you let them. So if you see that they're not really supportive, or if you see you're trying to talk to them about your ideas and they're kind of like brushing it off, well, guess what? They're not really supportive, and that is a toxic trait. And I have been in that situation, okay? I've been with somebody who didn't really support me. It seems like every time I started doing good, or for example, sometimes on my free time I like to do music. Like, I have a passion for music. I love it. And when we used to do music, people would just compliment me. We both would be on the same song or whatever, and people would like compliment me like, oh man, like your rap voice sounds pretty cool, or whatever the case is, or you should try this, you should do this. Like, Leah, you sound good, you know, whatever. He would like be like, well, there's other people on the song, like, it's not just you, or that's because you know them. Let me tell you something. I like to call myself reality because I like to be surrounded by real people. Everybody know, like, I like honest feedback. I like honesty. So if you're gonna be one of my close friends, you have to be honest with me. And if I'm doing something bad, or if I'm doing something horrible, like, I refuse to be that person on American Idol who swear up and down they can sing and they really can't sing, and they came on the show because their friends and stuff was boosting their head up. No, do not boost my head up and I'm trash. Do not boost me up and I suck. Like, please do not do that. You're not a real friend. You don't love me. You don't care about me. If you're boosting me up and you know I suck at something and you're boosting me up, you are not a real friend. Let me tell you something. A real friend would say, yo, that's not your thing. Maybe you should try something else. But we're going to talk about that in another video, because you have to determine what you're really not good at and what you're good at, and how to know if your friend is a real friend or not. But that's safe for another video. Number four, we are doing isolation. Now, I know a lot of you saying, how do you know that's like not a sign of depression, or how do you know it's not something else? How do you know it's just them? Let me tell you something. This is what toxic people do. I've been through this, okay? I've been through this. They would be really engaged with you for a few days. They'll be all over you. They'll be kissing on you, hugging you, treating you right, being amazing. And then out of nowhere, they would just isolate themselves. they would just start doing their own thing, start leaving without telling you, maybe start being in a separate room in the house away from you. And they would do it in a way where it has you thinking that you did something wrong. Like, toxic people don't really know how to control their emotions. They say they do, but really they don't. Really, they kind of don't. It's like they will make it seem like they will make you feel like, did I do something? Like, why aren't you talking to me? Why aren't you showing me attention today? It's like up and down with them. It's like you guys do have good days, but the good days are not every day. There are more up and down days than there are good days. That is a toxic trait. They will go off, they will be by themselves. Then for the next 2 days, they will be all over you. Then the day after that, they act like they don't want to be messing with you and stuff. That is a toxic trait. I'm telling you, avoid it, get out of it, do everything you can. I'm telling you, it's toxic and it's not healthy. It's not healthy. And just keep reminding yourself, it is not you. You guys know I am all about positivity. I am all about motivation. I am all about self-love. Remember, it is not you. If it's a situation, or let's say it's just day to day, and let's say, you know, you didn't do nothing. You know, you ain't get an attitude with them. You've been cooking dinner. You've been cleaning the house. You've been bringing in bacon, you know, money. You've been bringing it in. You've been making sure they clothes laid out. You've been doing everything you're supposed to do. And they just been acting like they don't want to be bothered with you. Come on now. Isolation, toxic. Okay? Very, very toxic. Number five. They force you to pick sides. Now, I probably should have did 4 and 5 together because it's kind of part of isolation. Another thing that they will kind of do is, part of the isolation is they don't just isolate themselves. They begin to isolate you from your family, from your close friends, from anyone who is trying to get close to you. Now, I know you're like, no, I kind of wanted to stop hanging out with that person anyway. That is a little bit different, and we'll save that for another video as well. But let's say you always hang out with your family. I've been through this. Let's talk about it. I always hang out with my family, okay? Now, if I have a man, or if I'm in a relationship, I always want to be with them. I want them to be my best friend. However, I love my family. I'm not a mama's girl. I'm not a daddy's girl. I just love my family. Like, I love family time. I like doing family things. Not every weekend because, you know, the age difference. I'm still young. I like to go out, I like the club, I like to party and stuff. But on my down days, you know, I like to bring my daughter over, let her see her grandmother, let her see her grandfather, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So the guy I was dating at the time, my family loved him. Like, you would have thought, like, he was, like, one of their sons, like, in real life. That's how close they were. And he would start to do little things to avoid us, like, going over there. Or he would make a lot of comments like, I want to stay here. So I would say things like, well, if you want to stay here, I'm going to go over for a little while and I'll catch you later, because I don't always like to stay in the house. I'm not really a homebody. And he just would want to be in the house every day, all day. Like, he barely wanted to go to work. Like, he ain't want to do nothing. He just wanted to stay in the house all the time. And he would try to do little things like, well, if you go over there, then I'm not going to talk to you. Like, I'm going to be mad because you need to be spending some time with me. So this is what they do. They will force you to pick sides. They will be like, it's either me or them. And the thing about it is, you love your significant other differently than how you love your friend, or how you love your family, or how you love anybody else you care about. The way that you will love, like, your significant other, like, that love is a little bit stronger, because it's like you just want to make them happy. So some days I would not go over there and I will be with him because I wanted to make him happy. But over time, I realized that that wasn't healthy. Like, or if I really wanted to go out with my friends, this is what happened. And tell me if this happens to you. Please tell me. I would literally go out with my friends. And I'll be like, okay, I want to have a girls' night. I want to get out of here, you know. And sometimes when you have girls' night, your man can't come along, you know, unless it's like a couple thing. I will go out with my friends, and I kid you not, I wouldn't even be out for 30 minutes to an hour. And he's already blowing up my phone, arguing with me, coming up with something he's mad about. Like, why are you doing this? Or you're making me feel like this. Like, he will come up with some way, like, to just ruin my night. Now, I'm the type of person, if I'm out, I will try to make my situation the best I can. But your significant other knows how to get under your skin. They know how to, like, ruffle your feathers. And that is, like, the crazy part, because he would text me, like, there's something I wanted to talk to you about. So you're telling me all this time that I was home and I was getting ready, we couldn't talk about it then? Or sometimes he would try to start with me before I go out. Like, I will wear a cute outfit. I have on my heels. I have on my dress. I have this on or whatever. And he'll be like, why are you wearing that? He wouldn't compliment me. He wouldn't do nothing because I was going out without him. Then he would say, I want to spend more time with you and things like that. Or he'll say, you hang out with your friends too much. You hang out too much. You outside too much. Let me tell you something. Someone who really loves you, someone who really cares about you, they're not going to care if you go out. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're going out every weekend and you never see them, okay, that might need to be adjusted. But in my case, or people who are like me, I didn't go out every weekend. I went out every once in a while, which was probably every 3 months, maybe every 4 months, you know. Now, if sometimes events do come up where I went out back to back 2 weekends in a row, but that was at most. Like, that's at most. You have a life to live. And always remember, you never stop living your life for nobody. I don't care if it's your significant other. I don't care if it's your family. You do not stop living your life. You go out there, you get those experiences. You go out there and you do you. You enjoy yourself. Because then, like, 10 years down the line, you're going to be like, man, I should have went. Man, I wish I had something I could talk about. Like, man, I should have gone. Like, you never want to have regrets. And I'm that person. Like, I don't go to everything. Like, for me, clubbing is a little bit outdated. Don't get me wrong. I like to go to a good party. But just getting up and going to, like, the regular club, kind of not my thing no more. I like to try new things. I like to go to different types of parties. Like, the lounges. Like, I want to be where the celebrities at. I want to be where people got money. Like, you want to be a millionaire? You got to be with millionaire mindsets, okay? Hands down, okay? So yeah, they'll definitely force you to pick sides, and I definitely went through that. So if they displayed anything like what I described, then yeah, I'm sorry, boo. They toxic, okay? They toxic. Now, number 6. One-sided compromises, which is pretty much a one-sided relationship. Let's say you guys are arguing. You guys, hands down, are going back and forth. You guys are really arguing about something that requires a decision, that requires something in action from one of you. If you're that person who's like me, like, we are I say kind of because we don't just do anything, but for the most part, we are people pleasers. Like, if it's something that's manageable that we can do, then we're going to do it. So in a toxic relationship that I was in, whenever we would argue, it would be like, let's say we're arguing about who's going to do the dishes. It's just an example. We're going back and forth. We're arguing. You was supposed to be the one to do the dishes. No, you was going to be the one to do it. I'm tired of doing them every day. Like, who's going to do the dishes? He would say, how about you do the dishes all this week, and then I'll do the dishes after my job schedule slows down to give me more time to do the dishes. But until then, you keep doing the dishes. Now, tell me, if we're arguing about only one of us is always doing the dishes, and I'm telling you only one of us is doing the dishes, and you come up with a solution that I'm still going to keep doing the dishes until your job schedule gets subsided to where you have time to do them. And that time never comes. Let me tell you something. That is toxic. That is what they do. That is a one-sided compromise. And then in that argument, if he's saying that, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, he's going to get to it eventually. I just have to do it a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer. And I know that the dishes example is kind of, I would definitely say like a weak kind of metaphor, but it is pretty much, put that on a bigger scale. If you're always bowing down to make the other person happy, this is a one-sided relationship. You are always giving, and they are always taking. Okay, you do not want that. You don't want to give somebody your all and all they do is take. Think of yourself as a battery. Okay, throughout the day you're fully charged, and this person keeps plugging up their energy to you, sucking the life force out of your battery. They're just taking it. They're just pulling all the juice. Anytime they need something, they need money, they need to borrow the car, they need you to do this, they need you to be here. They're just draining all the energy out of you. That is a sign of toxic. The way it works is, think of yourself like a USB cable that is double-sided. If we're both plugged up into each other, the energy is supposed to be exchanged. I give to you, you give to me. So both of our batteries should never be drained to the bottom. It's never going to be full, because anytime you give people a part of you, that is energy that is going to be taken. But the goal is to get your energy to a point where, no, you're not at 100% because you're still giving yourself, but you will never be drained from giving them your all, and they're not refueling you either. In a relationship, they are supposed to refuel you. They're supposed to recharge you. They're supposed to keep you charging all the time. Okay, but if every time they always need something, they're like, hey, can I borrow the car? Can I borrow this? And then let's say the one day your car's not working and you're like, can I borrow your car? I need to get to work. And they come up with some crazy excuse why they can't. And then you're like, okay, not this time. Then you ask them again for their car the next day and they keep telling you no. They're not giving you nothing. They're not helping you with nothing. That is not the person for you. Like, I'm telling you that. So, number 7. Continuously arguing. Now, a lot of people don't realize how much they argue. Normally, when a lot of people argue, they'll be like, well, it's just bad right now, but it's going to get better. Do not ignore the signs. Toxic people love to argue. They love fights. They love problems. They love seeing you upset. And let me tell you something, that is not healthy. Men, have you ever heard a girl say, I love it when you're mad. I like to see you when you're angry. She is toxic. She is toxic. Now, a lot of girls can misinterpret that. It's not that you like to see them angry, but you like to see them assertive. There is a difference. You like to see them dominant. But if they literally like to see you angry, they are toxic. They are toxic. Toxic. Okay? If they like to see you angry, if they do things to purposely get you mad, they are toxic. Okay, if you're dating a guy, and they are doing things to make you mad, he is toxic. Have you ever had that guy? I have had this. Have you ever had a guy? He starts with you almost every day. Every day there's something to argue about. Or let's say the days are going by and it's really, really good. Like, when I mean really good, I mean ain't no arguing. It's like nothing to fight about, but they start picking with you. Like, why do you do this? Or they'll try to be by themselves to get you to come in there, and they like, you just made me mad, you just irritated me, your energy, your aura is off. Like, they're just coming up with all these BX excuses of why you're making them mad. They are toxic people. So that was 7 tips. Let me get a little drink, y'all. You know, talking. So, those were 7 tips of how to know if you're in a toxic relationship. If these apply to you, if one of these apply to you, run. Run for the hills. Get out of there. Run, Forrest, run. Toxic. Love is supposed to be easy. Love is supposed to feel wonderful. Love is supposed to be everything you ever dream. And most important, love is supposed to be easy. I believe in fighting for your relationship. I believe in fighting for your situation. But there is a difference in over fighting. Yep, it sure is. You should only be able to fight so far. Every time you guys fight, or every time, if they're always threatening to leave, every argument should not be a war. It should be more battles than anything. I had a guy, every argument we had, it was war. Like, it was like, when we argued, when we fought. Like, we argued, we yelling at each other, cursing each other out. Like, it was a mess. Like, it was a mess. No argument should be that bad. Do people get upset? Absolutely. And you gotta cut them a little slack, because sometimes people anger levels are different. But it should be a simple battle. Like, okay, man, he mad at me. Okay, maybe he ain't talking to me for 24 hours. He needs some space to cool off. But if they go in days and days and days and they ain't talking to you, or they're not communicating, and then you guys get good, and then they come back and they bring it up again after they said they was over it, they are toxic. Girl, guy, whoever, they are toxic. And you got to get out of that. Now, for the juicy stuff, I posted this short. Whenever you try to talk positive, can you tell I don't really get views, okay? I get enough views, but I'm trying to find my positive people. And let me tell you something, there's not a lot of positive people out there. But the minute I posted something toxic, I got 1,000 views. Isn't that crazy? Now, I got good and bad attention, and let me tell you why. Now, let me play this short for you. And for those of you who haven't seen it, I'm going to just go ahead and read it. And it says, if you want to get over a toxic relationship, don't leave them. Don't leave them. Now, let me make something clear, okay? Because a lot of people was like, bad advice. This is trash advice. This is terrible. And there was a lot of people who liked that. Who liked it. Who liked what I said. Now, look. For those of you who said this is trash advice, I bet you that you guys are the good guys. So, no. I'm not saying stay with them in a sense of literally staying. But let me explain something to you guys. If they are physically abusing you, verbally abusing you, any type of abuse that is literally affecting your mental and physical health, you need to get out of there. Okay? I cannot be any more serious about this. You need to get out of there. I am not telling you to stay in that. I am not telling you to stick it out. You need to get out of there. Run. Set yourself up. If you can't just up and move, if you don't have money to get up, find a side hustle, find a job, find some money, find a family member who can take you in solitude, go to somewhere else and get asylum, you need to get out of there. Okay? God forbid, physical abuse is a serious thing, and nobody, girl or guy, should endure domestic violence. I mean that. Now, if you are weak-minded, you need to just block them. Block them and never speak to them again. Okay? Now, my short on the post that I post about don't leave them, I am referring to the people who are stubborn and hard-headed. And let me tell you why. Have you ever had that friend who keeps telling you about problems and they don't leave? And I'm not talking about the physical abuse, because that's a whole different mind thing. It's a whole different thing. But the ones who are like, oh, he keep cheating on me, or he keep doing this, and he apologized, so we're good now. Those friends drive me crazy. They drive me crazy. Why come and vent to me and you're going to go back with them? They keep treating you bad over and over again. They keep doing it over and over again. Why do you keep telling me about it? Because you're going to go back to them. Why ask my opinion and you're going to go back to them? I'm telling those people, don't leave them. Do you know why? Because eventually, because you are hard-headed, because you are not listening, the more that you stay with them, the more you'll get tired of their BS. The more you will start to realize this person ain't for me. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example. Now, if you heard what I was talking about earlier, about the guy I was talking to who tried to gaslight me in the end, I didn't just stop talking to him overnight. It was a process. With certain people, I could be a little hard-headed, especially if I really wanted to work. He was one of these people. I really wanted to work, and I was being a little hard-headed. He pretty much, I've learned, and some advice that my mom gave me, which is absolutely amazing. If somebody keeps disappointing you early on, and the thing about it is people would say, people you care for, they would oh, I feel like I'm disappointing you and stuff like that. If they keep disappointing you, let me say something, that ain't the person for you. That's not the person for you. That's not somebody you should be with. They ain't it. And over, he kept disappointing me. I would try to take the reins and say, hey, let's go out here. Hey, can we meet here? And magically, every time I would ask, magically something came up. Magically, all of a sudden, he couldn't come. And it took me a while to realize that. So once I got to the point where I started realizing his flaws, and that's the point you have to get to too. Have you gotten to the point where you with them and after a while you start noticing things that why didn't I notice that at the beginning? So as you start to notice these flaws, you start to not like it. You're like, man, it starts to turn you off from that person. So as he was doing this to me, every time he started to disappoint me, I started getting turned off. I wasn't really interested in talking to him anymore. Of course, they would say things that pull you back in. Of course, they would do little things that will pull you back in little by little. And I said, nah, this feel a little toxic. Every time it's on your accord, boom, it could get done, no problem. But when it's on my time, nope, it ain't happening. So as the time went on, I started to realize the flaws. I started to realize the problems. So I was reluctant to leave because I really liked him. And just like anybody who likes somebody a lot, it's hard for you to go. You're getting to know this person. They're starting to know about you. They know what you like. They're starting to know your sense of humor. And you're just I'm just stuck on this person and I don't know why. And I was stuck on him for a second. I'm going to say a second because it wasn't years, but I was stuck on him. And then the thing about it is, do not fall in love with the potential of what somebody can be. Fall in love for what they are doing right now. If you could fall in love with somebody who's doing it for you right now, the love you're going to have for them later is only going to be greater. Because if this is not even their full potential, imagine when they do get there. But a lot of women, they get so caught up in falling in love with the potential that they miss all the red flags at the beginning. And now they're with these people 5, 10, 15 years later down the line, and now you feel like you wasted all your time on this person who didn't even reach the potential you was hoping to get. So I was one of them. I fell for the potential. I said, man, I could just see this working. I can see it. You know, why can't he see this? I can see it. And as time is going on, I'm getting more and more turned off. So it's starting to click in my mind. Like, now I'm starting to think, maybe he's not it. Maybe. So as we're talking, you know, you kind of got to distance yourself. Now, I say if you single, you can talk to whoever you want. You can, you know, talk to this person, talk to this person. As I start to back up. Now, me, I don't know if you're like this, but when I like somebody, I'm tunnel vision. I only see you. I only want you, nobody else. Like, you know people's attractive, but you're just not interested. You don't want to get to know them or nothing. So I've had cute guys reach out to me, and at first I was not biting. Like, I was like, oh, okay, not interested. I'm really into this guy. Like, even though we're not in a committed relationship, like, I was already committing before that even happened, because I was liking the potential of what I saw and not what my reality was. So I noticed I started looking at other people. Like, I would be out with my girls, and, you know, they knew my situation or whatever was going on. And I noticed that I started to find people, like, attractive. Like, I want to know if he gonna come ask me for my number. So as soon as that started happening, like, it clicked for me. The guy that I'm talking to, he's not going to be it, because a lot of people would be grateful to have people like us foodies, okay, who can have tunnel vision, who can only focus on one person, who, you know, a lot of people can get that. But the thing about it is, if you're not doing nothing at the beginning to keep my attention, then that attention is going to go out the window, especially if we're not in a relationship. Like, you're going to wonder, you're going to figure this out. So as that happened, after I realized, okay, he ain't it, this ain't gonna work, whatever, I started to slowly cut my communication. So you got to cut your communication little by little. If you just cut them off completely, you're going to miss them. You're going to be like, oh, I kind of want to talk to him, because you're used to talking to them all the time. But what you have to do is, like, cut them off slowly. So what I started to do is I started to not respond as fast as I normally would. I started cutting back my text messages. Like, I just wasn't interested. Like, I wanted to see if, okay, and then again, some guys actually chase you down. Like, why aren't you talking to me? But he wasn't this guy. So you go off those type of actions. If somebody you care about, or somebody that really likes you, or somebody you love, if they see you're starting to pull back, they're going to jump. Like, you're being weird. What's going on? But this guy didn't do that. So I started backing up, and I noticed he pretty much didn't care. Like, you say you care, but really you don't, because your actions didn't say it. So I was just like, okay, he don't care. Then next thing you know, not talking to him for 5 minutes turned into we ain't speak for 6 hours. Then that 6 hours, oh, now we ain't talking for a whole day. Now every other day we was talking. Then after that, we wouldn't talk for 3-4 days. Next thing you know, it was a week we weren't talking. Next thing you know, it was 2, 3, 4 weeks we ain't talked. And as that happened and our spacing of talking actually got out, it was easy for me to wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm gonna block him, because you ain't really interested in me. And the thing about it is, I'm the type of person, like, I don't need no new friends. I have enough friends. Like, I am all for building connections, you know, and if friends happen to form out of those connections, great. But when it comes to my dating life, I don't need no new friends. I'm good. If you're just looking for good vibes and good connections, you ain't gonna find that here. If I'm interested in you as far as dating, like, no, you gotta separate the two. If I'm meeting somebody and we're gonna be friends, we're strictly gonna be friends and that's it. Because when you cross the line, it gets messy, and we'll save that for later. We're gonna save that for later. It gets messy. So that pretty much was my short. Like, if you wanna end a toxic relationship or situationship, don't leave them if you're hard-headed, okay? Don't leave them if you need a wake-up call. If you know you're that type of person that needs a wake-up call. Because the thing about it is, people can say, that's bad advice. But let me tell you something. What's worst advice is wasting your breath and telling somebody, you should get out of this, you should stop doing that, and they don't even listen to you. They don't even listen to you. They go right back to that person, and there you go again, making yourself upset for over talking to them and giving them all your time and energy and taking them out to make them feel better, and they still go back to that person. Now, if they're going through 1 or 2 hiccups, give them your advice. Don't hold back, tell them. But if somebody keeps going through the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over, why am I going to keep giving you advice? Stay in that relationship until you get tired. Because everybody comes to a point where they get sick and tired. They get sick and tired of being toxic. They get sick and tired of having that. And the thing about it is, this is where it gets tricky, because if you're watching this and you're really sick and tired of your situationship, your relationship, it is not as scary as being single. A lot of people, what they say, our dating pool has pee in it. It has pee in it, okay? It's not good. The pickings are slim, okay? Everybody is just, I don't know what's going on. Or maybe my luck has just not been the best. It's been good. I can't complain. But it depends. I feel like it depends on the season. Like, when I first was single, because I left my 6-year relationship. Can you believe that? 6 years I was with somebody and left them because it was toxic. And it took me 6 years to get sick and tired of it. Don't be like me and don't wait that long. If you know it's toxic, write it out. Write out the flaws on a list. Write out the good stuff and write out the bad stuff. And I'm telling you right now, like, do not cheat yourself. If you know the bad outweighs the good, then you need to skedaddle. But if the good really outweighs the bad, and don't be trying to make up good stuff, okay? Not stuff that they're going to do in the future. Things that they already have done. If the good outweighs the bad, stick it out. That is real stuff. That is real stuff. But a lot of people, they ain't gonna leave till they get sick and tired. And I hate to kind of say it like that, because, you know, you want people to do better. I want to see my foodies do well. I want to see original people do well. I want to see all you guys do good. I am all about motivation. And again, I'm all about self-love. And I don't want you in anything toxic. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for anybody. It's a lot of wasted energy, and it's just a lot, and it takes a toll on you. But I hope this video helped you guys out. I know that this is super long, but toxic is a big thing. Toxic is a very big thing. So make sure you stay tuned for next week. We're going to be talking about a different topic. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment on this video, comment on this podcast, and don't forget to check out my social media in the links below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next week.